Hi guys, this is Susan from Orange Light Energy. I felt really guided to come on and talk today about some things that have been going around in my head for a while. I felt very triggered this morning, which seems to just, I talked about this in the last video. I think it was called Holding Tension, but it's, we're all in this space where we are more easily triggered than we might be. There's so many things going on in our world. There have been so many things going on in our world. There's no rest. There is no opportunity to feel safe, to heal. There's just, sometimes it feels just like more and more trauma that snowballs on us as a collective. Within your personal life, you might be feeling it too. But this was more about the collective energies, about the things that are happening in our world, the things that we are experiencing, that we are living through. These things, they impact our lives. They impact the things that we are used to, the things that have just kind of been a part of it and what we expect, what we hope for. My cat is here. Harry is here to say hi. Obviously, you can see he's really happy to be here. But he's bringing himself over. This is Harry. He's going to run away now, no doubt. So this is not really about being in those energies. It's more about what can we do? How can we help in those energies? How can we feel like we're doing something? How can we feel less helpless? And this is wherever are you on your thoughts right now. This, you don't have to be triggered by the same things that I am, but there's things going on in every country, in every part of the world, that are changing our societies, that are pushing us to step forward, to talk about things in new ways, to decide how we feel about things, to give us an opportunity to step forward, to do something. It's making me want to cry. It's a heavy wound, and we all have different wounds. We all have different things that we are struggling with, different perspectives on the things in the world. So this is not about judgment on that. It's about what do we do? How do we help? And this in part came from a comment in the chat on our Patreon group. Came in a few weeks ago, but it has still just been in my head. Somebody had brought this up. This was talking about, from a political standpoint, people sending dark energies, punishment, hexes, curses, things like that towards political figures who, are part of bringing forward the changes that are coming. But they're controversial figures. They're figures that amplify this division. And that's a heavy role, however we feel about it. And so they were talking about how they'd been picking up that a lot of people were sending these darker energies, were sending these, I want to call them punishment energies, something that is on the darker side of energy. And just raising that, maybe that's not the right answer. And it wasn't talking about people within the group. It was just kind of a general thing for what they were picking up in the energy around these people. And that sat with me because the way I always address this, others of you may also be doing this already, but I just wanted to put it out there that even when there's something that causes you pain, that causes you struggle, that triggers your wounds, amplifying that doesn't aid the situation. That the way that this is shown, the way that I have been working on it, is to send light to those people, to send light to those situations. It's always about free will, whether they will receive it, but you could send those energies into that country, into that situation. Sending light, sending healing. If people are reacting from these places of hate, why? What wounding do they hold? What is being triggered in them? They're on this human path as well, and whether we agree with their actions, how we feel about their actions. I can laugh now. The other cat's here too. This is Harley. It's rare that they're both making an appearance, but here she is, coming to say hi. Also happy to be here. You know, it's just there's so much in these energies that is about anger, frustration, and pain. A lot of greed. No, but a lot of this comes from this in part a place of creating change, forcing change. No, if things don't force us to change things, then we don't move forward. We don't, we stick with the status quo. We stick where we are. So there are those who come in and play these roles. It's stirring things up. It's moving things around. It's forcing us to react. It helps us to heal. It shows us our wounds. It lets us repay karmic debts on some things. It allows us to revisit courses of action where maybe we haven't had things play out the way we would choose, or we want to choose differently. We want to experience it with a different outcome. When these things are rising, they're giving us that opportunity. So there's a lot of things about these situations that can make us feel despair, but also they can raise things up. They can show us things. They can bring us to new places. The things we're going through now, where will we be 10 years from now? How will the world look? How will the actions and the choices of this time change our world? What will they redefine? What will we see differently? What will we choose differently? Again, they're making me want to cry. This is important stuff. It's big. We look at it and you can feel despair about certain aspects of it. But the guidance around this is to look at the bigger picture, to see what it is doing and to choose your path through it. I'm talking about this now. To send darkness into that, to send darker energies does not serve. You're just amplifying what's already present when what it needs is light. I have a channeled meditation in that playlist that is about calling in light to yourself and pushing out that light into the world to support the earth in these times of change. That can help you. It can help you to release some of the trauma, to take action. If you want to work in your own ways, whatever feels right to you. I like to make balls of energy. I see myself rubbing my hands together and expanding, making a ball of energy. You may see it, you may feel it, you may just intend it to be there, and anywhere around that is fine. I push it forward. I am sending this into conflict in this part of the world. I'm doing this. I'm sending the energies into the earth. Wherever you feel guided to put this light, and you can make as many of these energy balls as you want. Send it into each country that's having these issues. Call in support for the leaders of those countries, the people who are tasked with resolving these things. Not everything that's going on now is ours to heal. We can work on our own healing, on our own triggers, our own responses to things. How we respond to other people that don't agree with the things that feel so important to us. Fix the division in our own lives, heal the wounds in our own lives. It's not our job to heal everything, and we cannot carry the burdens that are in the world right now. We can work in our own energy, and we can bring the support that we can, and maybe that is our role. To each morning, you do your energetic protection and you throw light into the world, sending this light with the intention of the highest possible outcome. You don't have to worry too much about what you are calling in. Just sending energies. You can throw the ball. You can just put your hands up. You can set the intention. You can thank your guides. Thank Metatron. Thank you, Archangel Metatron, for bringing about the highest possible outcome. And you can select a region, the world as a whole. You can go bigger than that, whatever feels right to you. sit outside, put your hands on the ground and send the energies into the earth, energies of support. The earth is clearing things too, just as we are. Gaia needs balance. But a lot of this, what's the highest path you can take? In part, it's about manifestation. What are you calling in? What do you want? What is the future that you want to see? Are you picturing in your mind times of peace, times of light? Holding in your mind the highest outcome? What is it that you want to work towards? If you're sitting in an energy of doom and gloom, thinking about the worst possible outcome, what are you calling in? Being mindful of that, stepping into your power and recognizing that you have power in this. But we've been through this before. Again, I need to do a video about the Lemuria session because this directly relates to those energies. So if you've done that session, you just call the energies back to you. Bring that healing back. Allow yourself to receive those energies again, to call on the guide that came forward. Because we've been through these times before. A lot of us, if you're listening to the things I'm talking about, we've been here before. We've lived through these times. We've lived through the transition of times, and that will trigger us. The repetition of wounds, seeing these same things rise, it's gonna poke at your energy. It's going to trigger things for you. Whether that is on a collective level, on a personal level. And just to be aware of that, to see where these things are rising, to see when you can send yourself healing, Place your hands on your heart chakra and thank your guides for bringing you the healing energies that you need, for helping you to clear this trauma. Calling in the help that is available to you, raising your own vibration, raising your own energy, supporting yourself. I do this for my family too. I'll send them the energy balls too. If I'm sending to somebody else, I always add in for their highest good should they choose to receive it. You can't give something to somebody that they don't want to receive. You can't override their free will. But you can put these energies into conflict, into struggles. Do you have division in your family? Do you have division in your workplace? These things are not just happening on the collective level. They're happening in our lives. They're giving us opportunities to learn and to move forward, to heal. So you can send these energies into the earth, but send them into your workplace. Send them into conflicts, into difficult situations, into areas where there is discomfort in your life, in the collective, whatever feels right to you. Again, these energies are abundant. You can do with them what feels right. What I would say is always just ensure, you're sending them with the intention of the highest possible outcome. The highest good and well-being of each and of all. If you're sending that intention, you're doing your job, you're doing your work. A lot of us, that's why we're here. This is how we take back our power, recognizing that we have power, recognizing that we can impact these things. Change is coming. You may not always read about these things. You may not always be as aware of them. A lot of what we hear is sensationalized, is blown up, is, it's triggering wounds of trust because we have to choose what we believe, what feels right to us. But these are times when things can get confusing, and all of it can raise struggle. All of it can raise conflict, and it can make life just more uncomfortable. I'm thinking for myself, there's a relationship within my life, somebody I was just really good friends with, and now there feels like there's a lot of distance. We feel very differently about things going on in the world, and that can impact your perception of somebody else, of their energies. When you have something you perceive as a moral difference, what you are willing to accept, what you are comfortable with, it changes things. And you have to figure out how to adapt to that within your life. How do you navigate that? How are you going to address it? You know, for some that might be to step back, for others, confrontation. But the guidance around this has always been love and compassion, to recognize that we're all on these different paths and there's learning in each of them. So as much as it can be hard to try and let go of judgment, to come to these things from a place of light, from compassion, it can serve you on your path. They're bringing me back to manifestation again, though we don't recognize how strong we are. And where your mind is, what is your mindset, will define the path forward. Times of change are times of renewal, of rebirth, these times when we can create the new. And don't give that away. They're saying, choose the path, choose where you want to go, choose your future. Whatever that means for you, what you are choosing, what feels right, what is it that you really want? What are the things that you hope for in your soul? What are the things that you have always wanted to do, that you have wanted to learn, the places that you want to go? What are the things within yourself that you want to grow? Focus on these things and have that focus. You know, if there's somewhere you want to live, picture it in your mind. If there's something you want resolved, picture its outcome. You know, you don't have to force these energies. You just have to hold it in your mind. Hold those energies and call it to you. You can ask your guides for help too. I always defer to Metatron, but if you work with a different guide, a different energy, feel free to do it in the way that is right for you. But let your guides help. Ask them. You know, free will is a big deal. And if you don't ask them for the help, they can't bring it to you in the same way. You know, to me, it's thank you, Archangel Metatron, for showing me my next steps, showing me the opportunities, bringing the connections into my life that are for my highest good. I like to leave it open because I don't know what the possibilities are. I know only what my mind can hold, but for Metatron, who knows? There could be all of these things that are possible that I didn't know about. But you can do that for yourself, for your own path, for your own life. But again, you can go beyond that. Thank you, Archangel Metatron. Thank you, Archangel Michael, whoever it is you want to talk to, for working towards the highest possible outcome for our Earth. No, putting it on a grander scale, but asking for their help. They will help you. Willingly, they will help you. There's no fear that you're asking for too much, that you're asking too often. Ask. No, they're here and they're ready to help. Excited to help. But you need to ask. This feels like there was a lot in here. So I feel like I've talked about everything that they wanted me to talk about. It's strange in these videos, like I feel such an urgency to speak and the words just kind of flow, and then when they're done, they're done. And my energy feels lighter. I can feel that I have brought through what I was supposed to. But this feels important. You know, there's so much happening, so much that can create overwhelm. Sometimes just to feel less powerless, to feel that you are doing something. To recognize in your energy that what you hold is what you're calling in. Just to trigger that in your mind, to kind of course correct, to pull yourself back when you get pulled into the heaviness is important. I don't know. All right. I hope this was helpful. It's good to see you all. Thank you for listening to these messages and for being here. Love all of you. Thank you.